Call to order at 6 o'clock. First item on the agenda is public comments. Hearing none. Association liaison report.
No real report. I mean, I would say that just as we spent a lot of time on Saturday getting a lot of stuff ready for the shed, and the training. That was a long day. Kudos to the chief and Paul the plumber for helping out.
Do you want to tell us what you did?
Mostly was putting in insulation and the
steel for
rebar and the piping for the heating. And hopefully sometime this week we're going to get a floor put in.
Tuesday. They were
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Forming it up.
Okay.
They're here today.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Next item on the agenda is the chairman's report. The first item, ongoing discussion regarding volunteer recruitment retention efforts. Unless the association liaison or chief has anything to report in terms of that, we can pass that. Okay, update regarding storage and training facility. I just wanted to let you know the building committee met after our last meeting and we are looking to schedule another meeting. There has been an additional scope review performed and we are basically ready to finalize the scope, and we think we have a path forward that everybody's on board with. So we will be presenting that at next meeting. Do you have anything additional?
No, other than the fact, like Nate talked about, we were here on Saturday and there were roughly 25 guys. We were able to get the insulation down, the wire mesh, all the radiant tubing for the heating of the floor, the radiant heat, completed and ready. They started forming today for where the overhead doors, where they're going to pour the slab. And they're going to start pouring on Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. And the slab is roughly going to take 100 yards of concrete. And then once we get through that, hopefully we'll have a meeting very shortly with the building committee, get it to the board of selectmen, get the authorization, and the contractor has held this price. So hopefully we'll be able to move forward and get this thing going sometime in June with a completion date hopefully by October, if we're lucky. Depends on procurement of different items, steel, so.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Update regarding dispatch subcommittee. I just want to let you know we do, for those of you who are new to the commission, we have a subcommittee that is me, a member of the police commission, Tony Genovese, Paul Kirikos, who is a former member of the Board of Selectmen, and we meet on a monthly basis to implement the recommendations of a consultant with respect to how we improve our dispatch system in town, such that it makes sense for us to keep it here. And he made 14 recommendations. We have been, over the last now 3 years, methodically implementing those recommendations, and we continue to do that, and we're kind of at the end, and I will be prepared to give a report probably at the next meeting in terms of all the recommendations that we have fulfilled and what is left. Some of it involves security, so I would probably talk about that in executive session at the next meeting. But we are moving forward with that. We've made significant progress, and I'll be reporting on that at the next meeting. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Next item on the agenda is the ratification of the WVFA officers. The installation dinner was held a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to just...
So basically, the ones we have to ratify, the officers for the upcoming year are the Assistant Fire Chief Ted Pocklowitz, Captain Chris Rich, First Lieutenant Nick Margarelli, Second Lieutenant Jonathan Arpea, Third Lieutenant Anthony Arafino, and Sergeant R.J. King.
Okay, do you guys have this, or, okay. All right, so I would ask for a motion to ratify the officers of the fire department as presented, and if you guys want to take a look at this, you can take a look at it.
I've seen it. We've seen it, here, you need a copy.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I voted it, yeah.
all right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, next item on the agenda is review of current financial statements.
Okay, so a couple of key items or one of the key items that we have to take a look at, and we're gonna go talk to Tony about contingency. Two items specifically, one being the building line item, which is no surprise, we've been talking about that for months. We still have some issues with the heat in the apparatus bay, the makeup air unit, and we have a quote, we're waiting for parts to come in, we have to get the authorization to get it fixed. How much was that again, do you remember off the top of your head? It was expensive, it was like, I want to say it was like $7,500.
From EI?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was over $7,000.
It was over 70, I think it was close to 7,500, and there were a couple other, and there were other items throughout the year that we had to get fixed. And the building is getting older, it's not a new building anymore. Building, we took occupancy of the building in February of 2009, and stuff is getting older, it's starting to break and showing its age, and I think next year's budget's gonna reflect that a little bit, and we're just gonna have to keep going as we go. We do have somebody working on looking at a new, we talked about this last meeting, building management system, basically the thermostats on the wall. We can do conventional thermostats like in your house, but that would require a lot of the ceilings having to come down, zone dampers to go in, zone panels, and redoing a lot of duct work, and that would be a lot more money. We are looking at a BMS system. We have somebody that has looked at it, has given us a rough estimate. He's willing to help us out since we're a volunteer department. So we had somebody take a look at it. Somebody was at $275,000 to fix the problem. We have somebody that is probably in the area of about $125,000. So, but this is not a cheap fix. This is gonna be at least $100 grand to fix this issue, to move forward. Otherwise, we're gonna keep having extravagant, or ridiculous heating bills, gas bills, electric bills. So at some point, the town's gonna have to bite the bullet. I mean, if we went a whole year without getting it fixed, we'd probably pay for itself. So we're in excess in the wintertime. We were paying for just gas alone, probably close to $7,000 a month, where we should be paying probably $2,000 a month. So it's quite a bit of money. And it has to get fixed, otherwise the problem's just gonna continue to get worse and worse, and we're gonna throw basically good money after bad, and at some point we have to fix it anyway.
And the problem is the original company that installed it doesn't support
Right,
the
it
product
doesn't
anymore?
support it doesn't support the product that
It's
we have
outdated,
anymore.
or?
Yeah, so it's the product they put into the building, no one else can touch, no one else can work on.
Proprietary.
So, right, so the new system we're looking at, multiple people can put their hands in, so if we started with you, we can end up going with Joe and going Stephanie, wherever, but right now, we're at a
Locked into
standstill,
one.
and we can't move, so.
And is that the company that said it'd be $220,000?
No, we haven't even gotten, we
You
didn't
haven't
even get a
gotten a
price
quote, no.
from them, so.
Okay.
Because at the time, we stopped using the company a few years back only because their bills started just driving up through the roof, and it wasn't worth it, and we brought other people in to try to manage the system, but in all due fairness, we started with oil in this building, and then they did the big gas where they brought gas up in and we converted the building to gas, so the system was set up for oil and then it went to natural gas and there were other changes that happened. So over time, the program was just not supported anymore. But with the new program, we could go elsewhere and update. So I believe it's, we're looking at a Siemens system.
Okay.
But we're writing a spec on it. Once we have the spec, basically, we'll bring it to you guys, go to the Board of Selectmen, and we're gonna have to put this out to bid, because it's definitely gonna be over $10,000, and see what the bids come back on.
So
And then-
who would write the spec like that?
So we have somebody that is a friend of the department that is willing to help write it and write the spec. This is what they do, so they've offered their services to help.
An engineer? or-
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
So
Good.
otherwise, the other way to do it is we're looking at probably north of 200 if we had to put conventional thermostats in. It's not just to rewire, we have to put zone dampers in, and zone control panels, and we duct a lot of the building to be able to do that now. But in all fairness, there was a BMS system, there was really no savings by having a BMS system. I think a BMS system works great if you have multiple buildings, but a building of this size and one building, it really doesn't
Justify.
help out, yeah. There was no cost savings by doing that. But we are locked into a BMS system unless we want to spend an exorbitant amount of money plus redoing ceilings and ductwork and everything else. I mean, that's where we're at now. But if the bids come back and they're extremely high, maybe it's a consideration to look at, and maybe we, even if it's the same cost, maybe we just do it so we're not locked into a BMS system, and that's what we're gonna look at.
Anything else on financials?
So building was one, and then we had our network switches, which are 6 years old, I believe, 6 or 7 years old. They started failing, we kept losing, dropping.
What
We had
line
to-
item is this?
That is under, it's gonna fall under,
Computer?
no, it's on the computer. It might fall under the computer, but we don't have the money to do it. We ordered switches.
Data processing?
It might fall under data processing. I have to look at it at the end of the week. But we are gonna go over, because it wasn't anticipated, and the cost of the new switches are probably right around just under $10,000. So I know we don't have the money for it wherever we are, but I think we'll have.
How many
I think we-
switches?
There are a total of 5, I believe. So we are, we're in the process of doing that now because we have to, we don't have a choice. And I think when I looked at it, I think we were able to come up with like $2,000, $2,300 that we could put toward it. And then we'll hit the rest, ask for a contingency probably for 7,000, something, 7,500.
And so this is gonna be out of this fiscal year budget?
Yes.
And what about the BMS system upgrade?
BMS is gonna be a bigger project, that's not gonna fall under an operating cost, that's gonna be more of a capital cost. So we're gonna have to figure out how they would wanna move forward with that, whether it's not gonna be bonded, they would just have to figure out. I haven't talked to Tony on the money yet.
Okay,
How
so
they
that's
would do
not
that.
in our capital budget for
No.
next fiscal year?
No,
Okay.
because remember, we submitted our capital budget back in November, yeah. It was early.
All right, anything else on financials or any other questions?
So we went to, the other thing is, we went to the annual town meeting on Monday night, that's why we didn't have our meeting. Everything went fine, so Basically, the budget got adopted, so we're starting to move forward. In another month, we'll start issuing POs for next year. So we're gonna close out this year and start next year. Another thing is, when we went to FDIC, we saw a skid unit for the UTD. We ended up purchasing it, which was a good thing. It came in the other day. We installed it last night, and it's a brush unit. So
Can you just,
basically, if we
for a
have a brush fire.
second, explain term skid unit for UTV? What is
Yep.
that?
Yeah, what
So
is-
it's like a pump and a water tank with a hose on it, so if you have a brush fire out in the woods, you can pull it out. It's got 75 feet of hose, and you can put the fire out rather than carrying the water on your back and dragging it all out like the old Indian tanks. So,
And what was the cost of that?
cost of that was right around 7,000. And that came out of capital. We were able to procure a drone also. So we had an old drone, and our new drone is over there. Peter Belts has, one of the firefighters has a license. So the new drone is a lot nicer. It has thermal imaging on it, it's got tracking on it. So if we have a lost person in the woods, and we're able to locate them, we could actually track that person as they walk through the woods. So the drone, instead of somebody flying and trying to find them, we keep an eye on them. The drone actually has built-in tracking on it, so as you walk, the drone moves and the camera moves, and it follows it. So on top of thermal, it's
So
got
the heat would show the person.
heat would show it, but there's also a high optical camera on it where we actually flew it here. We put it about 150 feet up in the air, and you can zoom into New Haven, and you can actually see the cars going across the Cube Bridge.
Wow.
That's how unbelievable the camera is.
Wow.
So you can almost pick off the license plates if they weren't moving so fast. You could actually read the license plates on the Cube Bridge with the camera. So there's also I forgot what they're called. They're like tracers. The guys. So when you put people into the woods to go look for people, they put this thing on. They turn it on, and a group of them, they go in. So if you have multiple crews go in, the drone actually locates it, and it keeps an eye on it, so they know where your guys are in the woods,
In case
so
something
no one's
happens to
getting
them.
lost or something happens to them, you'll know exactly where they are. It also has, like if we had somebody not only lost, or say we had somebody lost in the woods, it also will do, and we did it on the Fitzgerald property, so it basically takes, let's say this is the Fitzgerald property. So what the drone does is you mark the four corners of the property, and what happens is the drone will come over and start and sets up its own pattern. It keeps going around and around. So every so many feet, it constantly takes pictures. So you can always go back and review the pictures and see if you missed anything, or it pops up on the screen and you can actually see what it is. So it's actually got a lot of nice features on it. It also has a spotlight where at night it's almost as bright as like a helicopter spotlight that comes down that it illuminates, so it's like daylight. So you can be 200 feet up in the air, you have the light come down, and it's like daylight on the ground.
How big is it?
We'll pull it out after. And then it's also got a capability of talking, so if we're in the woods and we gotta talk to you, we can actually talk through the drone, and it's got an amplifier, and it'll tell you which way to go. We can talk to you direct. If you're good, raise your thumbs up. So you can have the capability of talking. It's like a big megaphone on the drone. And then the other thing we're looking into is it does have the capability that if somebody is lost or we can't get to them right away, we could actually put a phone on and drop the phone to the individual so we can actually have communication or a radio. So it's got a lot of nifty features, and it's actually it's a really good thing. It's mind blowing from the drone.
How many people know how to operate it?
Right now, we have one pilot, so we're looking to get 2 more trained, but it's one of those specialty things where you don't want everybody to do it. So we're gonna have a small crew that just operates the drone. And then at a fire, we can use it at a fire.
Am I not correct, you need a license to do that?
You
need to
do.
take it, it's almost like a pilot's license.
It's a pilot's license, so you
Yeah,
have
so
to go through the FAA
You have
and
to go through all
everything,
that
so
stuff, it's
no
special
joke.
thing.
So it's pretty wild.
You just wanna make sure you have enough people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that someone's gonna be at the call when you need it,
Mhm.
that they can
Yep.
operate it.
But this is something we don't want everybody to ride.
Yeah, no,
because
I get
it's
it.
expensive, so.
That's great.
Yeah,
So that was something that was purchased at the FDIC conference?
it was purchased right after, we were able to see it right there.
Okay. And how much was that?
That was a donation to the department. So the drone itself was right around, we got a deal on it, so we paid almost 15,000.
And someone donated,
The drone,
is that an anonymous donation?
yes.
Okay.
The dance, the annual dance is June 15th. Tickets and tables and party packages are available online if you guys are interested in coming. The Rum Runners are gonna be the entertainment. And we're gonna have a pizza truck, and a bunch of other things there, and the silent and live auction. So it's a good night out. We wanna raise a lot of money because we have the
Yeah.
storage building in the back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
pay for it, to help pay for it. One other thing, we had 3 firefighters go through firefighter 1. All 3 passed the class just recently. 2 passed the state practical and written exam. 1 just has to retake the hazmat portion of it, which is hard. Hazmat's a whole other level. So he just has to retake the hazmat, but he's doing that in a month. And once that happens, we'll have 3 firefighters.
Good.
So it's
That's
good,
great.
so. And that's all I have,
Okay, so was that your chief's report as well?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, and engine 9 is in service, the new engine.
Okay, anything you want to talk about in terms of working things out with the manufacturer, seller, if that's all resolved?
Yes.
All right, any questions?
So what she's talking about is when we got engine 9, there was delays on the truck. And what we're looking for is an extended warranty. So it comes with Connecticut, you get a 2-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. But what we were more concerned about was the components on the truck. Like, let's take Cummins, if Cummins has a 5-year manufacturer warranty, I'm just using 5 years. And you got a 2-year bumper to bumper, we wanted 3 years left. We didn't want, since the truck was over a year late, because everything's delayed, we don't want a 2 years left, so we really don't want a 4-year. We still want the 5-year, even the first 2 years are bumper to bumper. We still want the 3 years after the bumper to bumper. So after going back and forth a bunch of times, they were able to write us something that showed that when the truck went into service, our warranties on every component on the truck would start at that date. So it didn't start a year ago.
So the bumper to bumper was when it goes in service for 2 years.
So
And
on top
every
of
other
being late,
component.
we also got them to give us 3-year bumper to bumper instead of 2. So
Oh.
now we have 3-year bumper to bumper, and we have all the warranties that started day 1 when we put the truck in service.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a home run.
Yeah. So it was a good item.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, next item is the activity report.
So, the assistant chief couldn't be here tonight because his daughter is graduating, so he has some stuff that he's doing for his daughter for high school. But we can go over his report if you would like. So, we had 26 calls in, assuming this is April.
Right.
26 calls in April. You can see what they are: 3 fires, 1 overpressure, 14 hazardous condition, no fire, service calls 1, good intent 3, false calls 4, and severe weather none. So our hours are a little bit down from last year. If you look at 2024, we're at 759 hours, where last year we were at 909, but if you look at 2022, we're up from 2022 at 633.
Anybody have any questions? I mean, it would be helpful for us to get that in our packet.
No, I put in a note that he didn't have it available.
Yeah, no, I'm
He
just,
was away last week. and
that's
his
fine,
daughter had a little
but
bit
going
of-
forward, it would be helpful for us to have the reports in our packet, because it's hard to just, you know,
Okay.
review it and base questions off hearing it, so. Okay. Anybody have questions about it, or want to look at it? Okay.
I just have one other question. When, under your report, ongoing discussion, explore additional volunteer recruitment, retention efforts, maybe I was confused last meeting. Were we supposed to get you other information?
I don't remember exactly where we left off with that, but we can follow up afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there was some additional information that we had asked for, but I'll follow up with you afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, Fire Marshal's report, Fire Marshal Joe Capucci.
51 inspections, no fires, no fire investigations. We're on a roll. That's a good thing.
Anybody have questions? All right, any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Okay, did everyone get a chance to review the April 15th meeting minutes? All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
All right, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any changes or discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Okay. And our next meeting date is June 17th, sorry. 15th is our spring fling. 17th, anyone have any problems with that, conflicts?
Okay, I'm good.
Right, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or opposition? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.